Come June 21, it will be decision day for the people of Ekiti. 18 candidates are gunning for one seat.
I am the next governor of Ekiti.
But the people will have the final say.
I know that tolerance has a very big place.
Join extensive coverage of the election and get up to the many details as development unfolds.
I'm the voice of the Ekiti people.
With expert analysis from the best political team on television.
And that's honesty of INEC. Without
Join us all day June 21 to find out who emerges the next governor of Ekiti State.
We have agreed to move this state forward.
Keep a date with us on Core TV News. You can also watch us live on our website on www.coretvnews.com, a 24-hour news station.
Also very relevant, 21 years after the freest, supposedly, election in Nigeria. The freest, you can say, 21 years ago. June 21st, this nation will be witnessing yet another election prelude to the 2015 general election. It's been 21 years ago that the nation had its supposedly freest elections ever, with Chief Moshood Abiola winning as the presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party as against Bashir Tofa of the National Republican Party, as it were, then. Today in the studio, we are discussing and looking back 21 years after. Yes, that election came and went. Now we are looking for yet credible elections in the nation. And to discuss 21 years after, what's the big deal? How do we go from here to another and truly credible elections in our nation? To discuss this issue with us today is Onyekachi Eze, who is a national coordinator of the Nigerian Youth Leadership Advocacy Group, as well as WALE Ogunade, who is a president of Voter Awareness Initiative here in Nigeria. Gentlemen, you're welcome to our studios.
Thank you very much.
21 years after, WALE Ogunade, what's the big deal? What is the trend we are following to ensure yet another credible election? You, as the initiator and president of Voter Awareness, what is the trend for a credible election from the past 21 years?
I don't see anything new.
Nothing new?
There's nothing new on ground.
So status quo still remains, is as we're suggesting?
Status quo still remains because government and its apologists want the status quo to remain. They do not want the views of the people to come to be. 21 years ago, the freest and the best election took place in this country, and the status quo did not allow that to come to be. And subsequently, after 1993, we held an election in 1999. The same thing happened. 2011, the same thing happened. 2011, 13, the same thing happened. And of course, the last election, 2011, the same thing happened. The people have not been allowed to express their views. And if the people are not allowed to express their views, obviously, there can't be democracy. Because the schoolboy will define democracy as the government of the people, for the people, and by the people. So if the government is not by the people, and if it's not for the people, definitely. And let me go somewhere quickly and just notice and come out. When we were fighting that indeed Jonathan should be enthroned as the president of this country from the position of vice president to acting, the people stood by Jonathan. The people rose and said, indeed, we want the rule of law. We want the due process. And unfortunately, after Jonathan became the president, you see that the policies and action of Jonathan is against the people. To the extent that everywhere there is insecurity, People are not happy. There is no food on the Nigerian table. They deceive themselves and denude themselves that there is electricity. The power generation is going high and so on and so forth. I just want to nosedive into that and come back. So if the people are not put in equation, then definitely what is the essence of democracy? That is one. The second leg is that indeed, what's the big deal? 21 years after. If the person who made the supreme sacrifice, this man laid his life for democracy to come on board. Where was Jonathan, the David Marks of this world, and so on? Where were they 21 years ago? While people like us were in the trenches to ensure that indeed democracy came on board. We confronted the military head on. We knew the tear gas, the bullets that we survived. So people like David Mark were there on the other side, fighting the people. They said, of course, there can't be democracy in Nigeria. And here we are today. They are the beneficiaries. And we are not even quarreling with that. Ours is that the dividends of democracy, these are irreducible minimal. That indeed there must be school, indeed there must be hospitals, indeed there must be good roads, indeed there must be work. Indeed you must create jobs. And what's the big deal again? I like that topic. What's the big deal about creating jobs? And if they are not that knowledgeable about it, let them read the history books. The other day, Napoleon Bonaparte, when it found out that indeed lack of job was the causes of the crisis in France. What he did was that he got some guys who were digging up the holes, the trench, the gutters, and some other people digging it up, just to keep them busy. We are all shouting about Boko Haram. I told you the other time I lived in the north. I stayed in the north, I grew up in the north. People my age who are above 50, they are stark illiterate, they never went to school. And I told you, when we are going to school, then they will be singing, Yamakarantam Bokoko, Bakaratu Basanla, Seyawanzagi Malam. It means that, of course, they are poor education, and of course, that's why this Boko Haram is there. That's the name itself. And now we're saying that infrastructures and everything about democracy has collapsed. And to us, what is it? And what's the big deal? If institutions are not named after the person who laid his supreme price. And one thing, I want Nigerians to note one thing. Whenever there is a military intervention, it is the legislature that gets killed.
Yes.
The executive is there, of course, taken over by the military guys. Mm-hmm. The judiciary is not even tampered with. Anyway, at first they bring in ouster clauses, but again the judiciary is still there. Right, but the legislature is dead and dead. So that
because of the suspension of the Constitution, right?
So, sorry, the way I'm going is that if legislature, democracy through the legislature has been on for the past 15 years in Nigeria, then a monument as high as important as the National Assembly should be named after MKO Abiola.
Oh goodness, not again. Yes, Nifim.
Oekachi, the curiosity of a much younger generation about the 1993 election is not only about the public awareness and the massive political involvement of the public, but the ability of Nigerians to overwhelmingly vote for an individual, irrespective of ethnic and religious divide. What would want to ask, what do you think, in your informed opinion, was responsible or perhaps inspired a more united Nigeria in 1993?
All right, thank you very much. I would like to say this, that June 12th election is not just an issue, but it's an event. The June 12th presidential election that took place in 1993 happens to be one of the freest elections that has ever been conducted on the soil. And the fundamental issues, let's not forget that the fundamental issues thrown up by that very event has really affected our political landscape of Nigeria in so many ways. Issues like, because of through that June 12 election, we were able to we were agitating for fiscal federalism. Issues like the National Conference, which is the Sovereign National Conference, now National Confab, and the resource control. those are the issues that were agitated, that Abiola stood for then, that he wanted to bring to fore when he finally emerges as a president. But today, we have seen the circumstances that surround the present leadership, which is in person of the Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, and you would understand that the people who has held on to power even before now never wanted to leave the power. But the circumstances that led to his emergence has made us see what we are having today. So we see him as a privileged person on that seat. And today, we want to believe that President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, though he might not have done very well yet, but I think we are getting there. Because one of the issues, like I said, that was thrown up, the Sovereign National Conference, right now we have gotten it after 2 decades. So right now there is an ongoing national conference. So, and that's one of the issues. So the resource control also will also come out from that very national conference also. So let's not be, how will I put it now? Let's not throw the child away with the bath water.
Oyekachi, if I may come in very quickly here, we have about 70 million eligible Nigerian young people, who were supposed to be ready to vote.
Yeah.
Nobody, no political party will toy with 70 million young people eligibility to vote at any election.
Yeah.
But our Nigerian youths, do they think or have that responsibility to know that they can determine the face of the political structure that Nigerian desires? Because with 70 million, I mean, go anywhere, you cannot get that figure all over the world. But how many of Nigerian youths are adequately prepared to take that civic duty and do so?
You see, this is one of the reasons why we have come out to advocate for National Youth Day for the youth. Because now, when we talk about this National Youth Day, like last year, we were all out on the streets to ask that federal government declare the June 12th a National Youth Day. Why? Because when you look at this, the June 12th itself, the people that are killed, or the people who suffered most during this struggle, or that lost their life, were majorly youths. These are the people that took to the streets. I'm not saying that other people, that other the genders were not affected, but what I'm trying to say is that the youths were really affected in a very great measure. So, and what we're trying to do is that the Youth Day, the federal government should declare, they should declare the June 12th National Youth Day, because so that the youths can always have that very day as a day where they can come together and, you know. So
let us imagine federal government gives the youths June 12th.
Okay.
What would that do for the nation?
Of course, it's going to do a lot for the nation.
Give me two.
One, it's going to bring the youths together. It will help them to come together as one. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, for instance, the youths of Nigerians are not united. And that is the reason why you see so many people in the northern youths, they want to do their own thing. The western youths want to do their own thing. Every youth is just scattered all over the nation. But I think one of the most important things to begin with is uniting the youth. And when we have this youth day, we're going to bring the youth together for us to be in one. And then we start talking about issues. There are so many issues bothering the youth.
We know. But
namely,
and the second one. And the second one.
Now, secondly, it will also help the youth to understand, to have a sense of dignity and national pride.
It's all right. While some say that unlike Poland and South Africa, where the Solidarity Movement and the African National Congress respectively fought communism and apartheid and afterwards subsequently won elections, that the beneficiaries of the 1999 elections in Nigeria were actually people who fought against the realization of June 12. How true would you say that is, and how has it impacted democracy in Nigeria thus far?
I said it earlier on, that where was Jonathan in 21 years ago? Where was David Mark and all of them principal actors now? Unfortunately, you see, most of us who are in the trenches, we are lawyers, and we look at things legally. And unfortunately, during one of our meetings, then 21 years ago, 22 years ago, I remember Chief Ganifa saying that no, and of course anyone who knows Chief Ganifa will know that the man will want to do things legally. And to all intents and purposes, he was the leader of the struggle as at that time. And of course, co-leaders like Chief Lawa Kabasharon then too was a strong lawyer too, who, of course, if anything at all, the late Chief Lawa Kabasharon was the first person who promoted the idea of a national conference. And of course, it was messed up by Babangida. And of course, I won't be surprised tomorrow now again if Babangida now turns around and say he believes in the national conference and so on and so forth. That's another issue. So, in the process of our various meetings, of course, if you remember, we formed JACON and co. So, we never believed that indeed, in the struggle, that indeed we'll be able to push the military out. Our issue was just like biblical when Peter was held up in prison by Herod. And of course, the Holy Spirit, through the angel, eventually got him released. And of course, the people were praying, we want him released. He got released. He went to where they were, that, here I am. They say, Oga, now you come on. In fact, the lady, small girl came and said, Rhoda came and said, there's Peter knocking. They say, come on, you are in a trance. Go sit down, you small girl. And all. So to all intents and purposes, that's really what happened to the civil society. When, there was some disconnect in between it. We wanted the legalism. Because, again, if you look at it, the 1999 Constitution was a decree, a military decree called Decree 24. And we said, no, we want to work within the ambit of the law. And, of course, that's what, again, we're looking at in terms of this national conference, too. Because, indeed, you can't build something on nothing. There's no decree backing this issue up. So I'm waiting to see how Jonathan is going to work on it. Is it going to come in as an executive bill? And, of course, it's the people's idea. So let's see how he's going to work on it. Again, he's akin to this Kano issue. Jonathan has no business with Kano. It's a chieftaincy affair. You see, government should face reality. And that's our problem. But again, let me leave that one and come to your question. So, when we people fought, it's just like two hunters in the bush ran into an elephant, killed the elephant, and after killing the elephant, instead of now sitting down, let us do what we call again the spoils of the game, they now decide to fight themselves. Unfortunately, unfortunately, somebody who knew nothing about how the elephant was killed was strolling around, saunters around, saw, this is not big meat, and I now took the meat away. That's just what happened to us. But again, I think we've learned our lesson. And of course, just as I said, if I leave here now, I'll be going to the MK Abiola house, because again, we'll be having a meeting there to see how the civil society leaders can strategize towards the 2015 election. Yes, it's about money, because obviously these guys have cornered government. They have all the billions of money to spend. But again, we'll see how we can work it out. And of course, talking about that, our group Voters Awareness Initiative is doing a big membership drive now. And of course, if you want to get across to us, you can visit us, Google us, that's www.votersawareness.org, or you check us out on Facebook, Voters Awareness. And of course, we're doing a big membership drive. You see, the whole idea is that we want each Nigerian now to be involved, because there are 150,000 polling units as at now in Nigeria. And we want at least 3 or 4 members of our group to be in these polling units. Because again, when we started this second dispensation, now when Jega came in, our group was the one that proposed that, look, we can't continue this issue of people writing election results in police station. There's a difference between the police station and the polling station. Right, and so on and so forth. We brought that idea, and of course it has worked. So now we now propose the idea that election results must be pasted. So if elections results are pasted, we want people to be there, and thank God for the various smartphones. As soon as the man is pasting it, you capture it, And let's see how it goes. Maybe from there now they begin to turn the result. So we've moved further.
Let's take a look at this issue of 70 million eligible young people,
yes,
over 18, coming into the electoral system. And these are people who do not know much about June 12.
Yes.
Haven't seen and known what has gone on to date. What are we doing, even with political parties, with this massive resource of electoral eligibility?
Good. Unfortunately, let me just quickly go somewhere. There are, just as I said a few minutes ago, the election is a process. It's not an event. It's not a one-day thing. Anytime I'm involved in election activities, monitoring elections, when I go down, some people will say, "Okay, I know I won't vote." And then, where is your voter's card? I don't get it. What happened? I don't know the time when they register. There you are. And that's one vote lost. Gone. And in election, vote is the key. It is not something you force. So it's a process. There's a registration time, there's a claims and objection time, and of course there's a voting day itself. Right. And of course, election registration is the period open. The door will be open, or window will be opened by INEC. That's the election monitoring body for people who want to register. And I like their date of those February 15. It's a Lover's Day. So you know that you want to vote. If you're a woman, go to where your boyfriend or your spouse is, go and register near there. So on election day, say is Valentine's Day, then you pack your some lover's box, the things, maybe snacks and so on.
You go and sit in the election
down and cast your vote and continue your love game. No wahala. That's on a lighter mood. But sincerely, the issue is that a lot of education has to be done in this regard, because most of them waste their votes. Most of them don't even know what to do. As I was trying to say, as recent as November 16, when I was in Anambra during the last governorship election, there was no preparation whatsoever, either by INEC and by the political parties, to educate their electorate. And that's why we, Voters Awareness Initiative, now say, okay, we're going to start, and we've started membership drive, and we'll take it up from there to town hall meetings, campus meetings and town storms and all, village choir meetings and so on. And of course, we'll be coming on air like this to educate Nigerians on their political rights, how to vote. It's not some people who come on and paste posters by your roadside and say he's trusted and trusted. And of course, that's all. He gets to office and you don't know anything. There is nothing whatsoever. We want dividends of democracy. And of course, this can only be done when you have people who are elected that you know. Not that money bag will come, give you some 2,000. I tell you, my brother, I've crisscrossed the 774 local governments in this country. And each time, once I go there once in a time, I ask, who are the kingmakers here? Sometimes just 5 people. It's these 5 people that corner whatever money that the politicians bring. And of course, you now see them now buying bread and stocking money in the bread. How much do they stick in the bread? Maybe 500 naira. I don't think they stick 1,000 naira. So they'll give you 1,000 naira or 500 naira for 4 years. How long would that take you? This is about education. So if people are not educated, then definitely they will mess up. Then let me quickly go somewhere. In the electoral process, there is a voter, there is a voting, and there is a vote. And all these things are very, very important. If people are not educated, then definitely they will mess up. You are the voter, you must know your right as a voter. That yes, you play the role as a king in this process. Then the voting itself, vote right, knowing how to vote right. And of course, voting itself is the process and procedure so that your vote is not wasted.
Let's quickly do a little bit of statistical comparison here. Oikachi, I'm coming to you. Okay. The 1993 election, we had about just 13 million plus voters. Okay. MKO had 56% of the votes cast, and Bashir Tofa had 41%. Okay. Now, fast track to 1999, we had 29 million vote cast. Okay. And then Obasanjo had 62% and Olufalaye had 37%. Okay. There seems to be a wider margin. Okay. There seems to be more people involved. Yeah. What do you think went wrong there? Why is it that this election, which seemed to have more people and more participation, became over time less popular and more or less accepted than the 1993 election?
Okay, I think what really happened there was that before now, the Nigerians they were never enthusiastic about the election thing, ever before now. I have somebody who is a lawyer today, just at a particular seminar. He came up and he was saying, this is somebody who is about, is about 34, 35-year-old. He's telling me that the first time, his first outing in voting was during the last election. That was in 2011. It's somebody who is about 34-year-old. So do you understand? So the people were not interested. That's just what it is. So then, back then in 1993, it's just that it was just the few people who were like, okay, or let me use the word partisans. You understand? The party faithfuls and all that. Those are the people that came out to do all the votings, and that was why. So and now the political landscape, it's becoming interesting rather now, and everybody's getting involved, and even more people are coming in. So now in 1999, you were seeing more youths coming in to participate in the election, and you are going to see more come 2015.
Quickly, Wale, more didn't seem to give us more in quality. That's my point here. How do you see that?
I just told you the other time that we were able to checkmate rigging in terms of cooking numbers. So you see, when you cook numbers, 10 people voted. When you are now posting the result, you put 100. Obviously, it doesn't work, right? So that was what was in the fall before. So you can't compare figures. It's not. You can't work. It can't work that way. That in 1999, this or this in 2020.
You're saying categorically that these numbers did not really reflect.
It
the
can
actual
reflect.
voting.
I'm talking as somebody who is on ground, who is on the field, who is a player, who knows the nitty-gritty. I'm not a classroom student. I'm talking about what is happening on the field. So to checkmate this thing, I told you we brought the idea that no, let's paste results. Now we are working on how to checkmate the issue in the riverine areas, because in the riverine areas and the far rural areas, that's why we have problems. So if in states like Oyo, there is what we call the Oyo North. Before the results come from Ibadan, from Ibumino, Iseyin and Co to Ibadan, definitely a lot of things will have happened. So we are working on all those areas in Anambra and in in Adamawa, in the Mubi sector. Before the result, 5 hours between Mubi and Jalingo. Yeah. Right. So these are issues that we are working on. You see, between the time of voting, and that's what I was trying to explain the other time, between the time of voting and when the vote is counted, and when the results are collated, and when the result is announced, a whole lot of things happen. So we're working on how to fine-tune all these things.
Let's take a quick break here. We'd love to hear from you, and all you need to do is like our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Core TV News, and you can leave your comments there while we read them here on air, as well as on Twitter. It's at Core TV News NG. Now you can also get to watch previous and current edition of Core Digest on YouTube. It's youtube.com/Core TV. Leave a space and news.
Well, we'll take a short break now for the news, and the second segment of the program will come your way shortly thereafter. Don't go away. Core TV continues.
Come June 21, it will be decision day for the people of Ekiti. 18 candidates are gunning for one seat.
I am the next governor of Ekiti.
But the people will have the final say.
I know that tolerance has a very big place.
Join extensive coverage of the election and get up to the many details as development unfolds.
I'm the voice of the Ekiti people.
With expert analysis from the best political team on television.
And that's honesty of INEC. Without
Join us all day June 21 to find out who emerges the next governor of Ekiti State.
We have agreed to move this state forward.
Keep a date with us on Core TV News. You can also watch us live on our website on www.coretvnews.com, a 24-hour news station.